let's talk about the Raptors in the playoffs. We had 6 games to go off of for this, but we're going to be ranking every single Raptors player in the playoffs, how they played in comparison to what you would expect them to do as it comes to the playoffs. Here we go. Tier list set up. And we're ranking all of them. So a lot of them are going to be in this category, not enough playtime. S is obviously the best. D is obviously the worst. Now again, this is going to be based on my expectation for the player. So it's not how they played compared to each other, but how I would expect them to play. And they're in a random order that was just, it was randomly done. Random order. So, for starters, Pascal Siakam. I think A is fair because I have high expectations for Siakam. I was expecting him to do great things, going to carry us in this playoff run. And I felt like, for the most part, he was good. There was a good pocket where he was exceptional, like especially in games 4 and 5. And there was the game 3 where he wasn't good at all, and I was livid. So I think a fair assessment of Pascal Siakam is that he's in the A tier. He was great, but he wasn't at that S tier, unbelievable level. So I don't know if anybody's gonna get in it, but you know, we'll go on here. Next player. Oh, do I like? What am I gonna do for Fred? Oh man. You know what? Let's do some investigation. Let's do some investigation first. Before we do this, let's do some investigation. Was he really that bad? He's not going higher than C. I'm telling you that. He's not going higher than C. And granted, I will say this is not his fault. Like it is not his fault. He was injured. He had the knee thing. He also had the hip flexor thing. And it was a bad match for him. So this is not an indictment against Fred in a lot of ways. Maybe a little bit. Maybe he could have been better. But let's see his game log from this playoff run. Okay. He's played 4 games. He had 18, 20, 12 points. The 5-point game, he was subbed out early. Shooting in the game 1 was great, and then game 2 and 3 wasn't. Defense struggled in all of those games. Fred, 3 for 13 and 7 for 23. Games 2 and 3. Like 3 for 13 in a game we lost by 3. I'm not gonna do it to him. I'm not gonna do it to him. We're gonna put Fred in the C tier, but he's close. He's close to there. OG Anunoby, inconsistent. Good, but inconsistent. You know what I mean? Like there was like a couple games where people were like, oh, we gotta make OG the #1 option in the playoffs. Like, shut up, first of all. Then there were some games he really wasn't that good. Defensively, like I expect a lot from OG in the playoffs. Like I expect him to I have DPOY aspirations for OG Anunoby. I didn't really see that. You know what I mean? Like as good as he was, I didn't really see that. So I'm gonna put him in B. There was like some really good performances there. There was some like not good ones though. B is about average. B is about like met expectations, I would say. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think he was above what I was expecting of him to do. Chris Boucher, I put him A. I've had some harsh words for Chris Boucher this season, but he was honestly like amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know what? He was absolutely sensational in the playoffs, especially in game 5. Did he have a 30-point game or something like that? Like he was exceptional. He was so good, so important to the Raptors. When we needed the spark off the bench, he provided it, and then some. He was honestly way better than expected. Yes, Simi Hyluk, kind of play time. Gary Trent. Oh, Gary, he was so. I don't want to hold games 1 and 2 against him too much because genuinely, he was not healthy, but like, you know, we kind of have to. I was considering putting him at A because he was really good once he got healthy. He did struggle in game 6, which was very telling, as did a lot of players in his team. But I think Gary Trent, he's like in between these two. You know what I mean? We're gonna put him on the B tier because it was never like a game-winning performance like Siakam would maybe have. Like 2 of those 6 games, Siakam was the best player on the floor. Crazy. All right, and then we got a bunch of players who didn't play enough. We're gonna put them there. Precious Achiuwa is next. I'd say above expectations. We'll put him in the A tier. Not quite at the S tier level, but Precious Achiuwa, there was one game he was S tier. There was one game where he was D tier. But for the most part, Precious Achiuwa showcased that like he is ready. He is ready to take the next steps in his NBA career. And I'm excited to see what he can do next season to get there. Because like that game, game 4. Or was it the game 5? Just attacking. No, yeah, game 5. Just attacking Joel Embiid. Just going at him one-on-one. Picking on him. Like a Precious Achiuwa picking on Joel Embiid. Like who would have thought? Not me. And the 3-point game, the way it developed and the way he was executing that for a lot of the playoffs. Like Precious Achiuwa, I think is A tier. And I think that's fair. Malachi Flynn. Like, I have low expectations for him. He didn't play a lot, but I think he played enough for me to give him a ranking. Yeah, his defense was good, and there were some games where, like, wow, like this is the only guy that can guard Tyrese Maxey, but I don't recall him getting a point. Like, at some point, Malachi Flynn needs to score, or else there's no reason to have him on the team, especially with an off season coming up where we can sign a replacement. So yeah, put him C. He's not D, but we'll put him C. If Johnson, not enough play time. Penny, not enough play time. I hope that changes next season. Scotty Barnes. So he missed game 2. He missed game 3 as well. I think he was back for game 3. Why am I forgetting these things? Regardless, we saw enough of Scotty Barnes. I'd say B. He was good. He was as good as expected. There wasn't like any spectacular performances, but especially considering his injury, he was good. He did his job. He was fine. He did what I was expecting him to do. He didn't necessarily have any bad performances. He does a great job of affecting games off ball, affecting the games without necessarily padding stats in the box score. It's great. Rookie of the year. Well, I think a fair assessment of his game is sitting in the B category. Banton, really not enough play time. 2 guys with enough play time here. We're going to go with Thaddeus Young in the A tier. Thaddeus Young blew me away. Absolutely blew me away in the playoffs. From an offensive standpoint, like his passing and the partnership he developed with Chris Boucher was incredible. His defense was quite good. Even knocking down a couple threes here and there. It was great from Thaddeus Young. I really did like what I saw from him. And I wonder if he'll come back next season. I had some really harsh words for Thaddeus Young throughout the season after we traded for him, but in the playoffs, I really started to understand why the Raptors did decide to go all out to make that trade. Because yeah, we moved down like what, 13 spots in the no, like 13 to 15 was it in the end? 13 spots in the draft to get him, but I don't think we win 48 games without him. I don't think we have that good of a finish to our season, and I don't know if we win 2 playoff games without him, because honestly, he was so important. When the Raptors started struggling and you saw Thaddeus Young, Chris Boucher come in, they would absolutely change the game. I think you could even make an argument for that to be on S tier, but I'm gonna leave it in A, but I'll put him at the top of the A tier. Last player is Khem Birch. Now, Khem Birch, his play time was limited to a lot of just starting the game, playing 6 minutes, getting those early Joel Embiid minutes when Joel Embiid is, full energy, and maybe take a few fouls. Khem Birch, I thought was fine. He did his job. I don't think he was bad. There was, probably one game where he was good offensively, but for the most part, his job was to weather the Joel Embiid storm, take a few fouls so other guys wouldn't have to, and I would say he's pretty much as advertised here. My hope for the offseason, and I know I like Khem Birch, but my hope for the offseason is we upgrade on his role. We find somebody who's bigger and a little bit better than Khem Birch. I mean, Khem Birch also knocking down a few corner threes. Didn't hit a 3 all season, but I think he hit like 3 in the playoffs in the corner. So I would say about as advertised for Khem Birch. Really not a lot of play time to go off of. But from what I saw, like I really didn't have any qualms with Khem Birch being out there for the most part. And there you have it. So a lot of guys just don't get play time. It is what it is. It's the playoffs. You're not going to play a lot. If you're not one of the main guys, you're going to Like, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose with your main cast. Only one player seriously exceeded expectations in Chris Boucher, but for the most part, I mean, not a lot of bones to pick with these guys. I guess I would say, well, first of all, Philly's a better team, and they showed it on the court, so we have to respect that. And second of all, what I would say is, you know, nobody really, like, cost us any of this. I think the main thing is that there weren't enough times, especially in the first 3 games, where a lot of guys showed up and had a good game. Like, there were bad games here and there for a lot of guys, but there wasn't enough times where a lot of good games happened together. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why Philly maybe won game 3. And game 6, I mean, second half was just an absolute disaster for everybody on this team. So, but, you know, Philly are the better team. They showed it. They beat us. And we laid a really good foundation for next season. It was very good playoff experience for some of our younger guys. Scotty Barnes got really good playoff experience, and that's all we could have asked for from a season where we were projected to win 36 games. We ended up winning 48, winning 2 playoff games. Excellent learning curve. This is how I feel about the team from the playoffs, and there's plenty to like about the future.